Okay, here I am. I'm live. Today we're gonna take a step into something a little bit more academic. I've noticed that people are taking on some math, doing math worksheets at home, and that sort of thing. And so I wanted to show you guys how to do some of the multiplication table using your hands. And so everybody's got their hands. You can bring your hands into a classroom, no problem. So it's not like when people tell you you can't use a calculator, you can always find a way to use your hands to do some math problems. So we'll look at the times table a little bit. And so if you look at the times table as a grid, I'm just going to draw a quick grid here. There we go. We've got one, two, two, three. You guys are seeing that? Nope, you're not seeing that. Let me see if I can adjust this. There we go. I have to move myself so that everything fits on the screen here. Yeah, 4, 5. We'll go to 5. Then 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna make that. This is a kind of awful grid. You guys are just gonna have to. You guys, having been my students, know that my writing skills are not always the best. There we go. So we've got a grid. We're doing the times table. So this is multiplication. I'll just put mult. Okay, so that's the times table. And then what we want to look at there is how to use our hand to solve these problems. So the one times table is really straightforward. If you do want to use your hand, you could just look. It's like a one times table. All you have to do is hold up that number and you'll see it. So if it's 1 times 1, you hold up a 1 and you know the answer, which is 1. 1 times 2, you hold up a 2. There's a peace sign for you. Yeah, so I'm just going to encourage you guys. I'm going to hop on chat. There is chat here. If you have questions, if you have things you want to know, maybe you want to hop off of math and do something else, let me know, and we can always go on a tangent. But I'm just going to say hello. Yeah, people are doing math at home, and so what I want to do is give you guys this chance to do something that might. Isn't that funny? If I hold up my hand past this, it messes up the green screen that I'm using. Anyway, all right, so yeah, it is a pretty straightforward thing. If you do want to use your hands, you just keep holding up the number. So if we're doing a 1 times table and we do 1 times 3, we just hold up 3 fingers. We know it's 3. We hold up 4 fingers for 4, and there's your answer, and 5. Well, the 1 times table is really easy. It's a great one. If you ever get a 1 times table question, you should be thankful for the opportunity. So I'm going to do the same thing in the other direction. So there we go. I'm filling out this chart. So what I would recommend you guys do is to independently do a multiplication chart, especially if you don't know it, and you keep doing 6 and onward. Usually people go to 12, and the same in this direction. So if you can do 12 times 12 comfortably, then maybe this is not for you. But for those people who need a little practice, this is a handy way to do it. All right, so we're getting on to 2's, the 2 times table. So the 2 times table, what I'm going to do with my hands is each hand, ooh, there's my hands. Each hand is going to represent the number. So if I get 1 times 2, I get 1, and then another 1, and that's my answer. 1 times 2 is 2. So we already have that on there. But what about 2 times 2? Now what I'm doing is I'm holding up 2 on each hand. So the 2 times table, what I'm imagining is that each hand holds up that same number. So 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so with the 3 times table, I'm holding up both hands. This is the 2 times table, but it's 2 times 3. I'm holding up both hands, and both hands are holding up a 3. And so I'm going to add those. I might have to count these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So you might already know that answer. And if you know that answer, you're already off and running. But if you don't, that is a 2 times table trick. So I'll put some 6's up here. I'm just checking. I'm getting. There's my phone. My phone is hiding. Okay, so yeah, that's it's business, but I can deal with it later. But one of the things about being kind of a quarantine teacher is people are often contacting you with things that they need, and it's kind of my job to be the hinge. So when something's needs to get sorted, I'm involved in the decision making and sometimes even the delivery of those things. And so that was a text about that. So carrying on with the 2 times table, if I do 2 times 4, I'm holding up 2 hands. Each hand has 4 fingers on it, 4 fingers up right now. And so that is 2 times 4. And if I count those out, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. 2 times 4 is 8. So this is like, and I'm going to put that 2 times 4 is 8. So you guys see that I'm filling out this chart. And the nice thing is about a times table chart that if I fill it out here, I can also do 4 times 2, which is also 8. Alex, do you want to come to Daddy? Oh, I was encouraging my kid. She just finished. Oh, there we go. All right, I see somebody's doing math. Somebody's joined me today, and they're doing some math. But definitely probably need a little bit of support doing math. So that's good. That's good. The Daryl Keys that you tuned in today, and we'll just carry on doing math. All right. So the nice thing here is that last question, which is the 2 times table, we're doing 2 times 5. So I imagine one hand and another hand. Boy, it's very strange to work with a camera because a camera's not a mirror. Yeah, and I count those out and I get 10. So that is the 2 times table. 5. Oh, sorry, that is not the answer. I'm live TV. So here's your opportunity to see your teacher messing up on some math. So a lot of people think that the job of learning is about getting things perfect, but the job of learning is about carrying on and doing your job. And the more that you do it, the more often you'll get it right. But sometimes we make mistakes. And so, yes, 2 times 5 is not 5, but 10. So that's 2 5s together. All right. So the next one that I want to do is actually not 3. I'm not going to look at 3 right now, the 3 times table. I will get back to it. But what I'm going to do is look at 4 because 4 is actually very similar to the 2 times table. So what I'm going to do with the 4 times table, the 4 times table, a strategy that you can use is that a 4, if you times something by 4, you're doubling it, and then you're doubling it again. So what I want to do is 4 times 1. I'm going to hold that up on my hands. So 4 times 1, and I get this. This is me doubling it, so I get 2. But now I have to double it again, and that gets me to 4. So 4 times 1 is 4. We already have that one up. But let's try that with 2. 4 times 2, I'm doubling it. So I'm doing the same thing as I did for the 2 times table. And I'm getting 4, but then I'm doubling the number that I get with my hands. So that's 4 times 2, which is 8. So we have that answer on there already. 4 times 2 is 8. Yeah, so I'm doubling, I'm holding up my hands, and then I'm doubling the result. So yeah, this one takes a little bit of thinking, and maybe this is not the best strategy. A lot of people, will tell you that the double strategy, it's a good Canadian strategy because a lot of Canadians like their double coffee. And so, oh, I see a couple people are chatting on there. That's excellent. And so, yeah. So there's a lot of debate about 2 plus 2 equaling 5, which is not a math question. That's actually a question from a book, which is called 1984. There's a book in 1984 where everybody, as a society, believes that 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. It's very strange that the society has so much control that they're able to convince people things that are just simply wrong. But if we look at the world right now, we definitely can see that there are things that the government is trying to convince us are true, and sometimes we have to stop and say, "Is this true? Why are they trying to convince us this thing is true?" So, right now, there's some people who are agitating for us to leave and go back to our life as it was, but now is not the time for that. So, people who try to convince you otherwise probably don't have your best interests at heart. So, carrying on with math, I appreciate it. I mean, you can always go on a tangent if you guys keep up the chat. So, yes, we said the 4 times table is the double strategy. So if we are using our hands, the little strategy I'm talking about is using our hands to solve these problems. And so that's why we're doing this way. So there's a couple ways we can do double. We can just double a number and then double it again. But I like using my hands. So we're doing the 3 times table. I'm doubling the 3's. So I'm holding up 2 hands. That's doubling 3, so I get 6. But then I have to double that again for the 4 times table. So I get 12. So I'm going to put that up. 4 times 3 is 12. And then 4 times 3 is 12. Look at this. One of the things that I'm doing that's sneaky is that I'm going to solve the 3 times table without ever doing the 3 times table. The 3 times table I find is a bit of a challenge. If you guys have a strategy for it, a lot of times people just try to memorize their 3 times table or count up by 3s the same way as we do with 5s. All right. So the next one is 4 times 4. So I'm holding up 2 4s, and that gets me 8, and then I have to double it again. So doubling 8, I get 16. If you guys can't do that, one way you can do it to double a bigger number is to just do 8 plus 8. That's the same as saying 2 times 8. So 8 plus 8, we get 16. Yeah. So there's my answer. 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to put that here. 16. Is there another place I can put that? No. That's funny. Why am I not? Usually there's 2 places you can put each answer. But for some reason this one is not doubling again. I think it's probably because we've gotten bigger. The times table does keep expanding out in every direction. And so I'm encouraging you guys to do it all the way to 12, but today we're only going to do it to 5. All right. So, and then the last one is 5 times 4. So I'm holding up both hands, and there's my 5 plus 5, which is 10. But then I got to double that. So I'm doubling 10. 2 times 10, 20. So there's my answer, 20. So there we go. We're almost finished. We're almost finished this in a couple of directions. And I do notice that this one I can do twice, because my 4 times 5 can happen down here too. 4 times 5 here gets me 20. There we go. So there's only a few left to fill in. And if we're doing this on our hands, we can definitely do that skill. So the 5 times table, all that I'm doing is I'm holding up a hand for every number. So if I'm using the hand strategy, and I get a question that says, what is 3 times 5? All I need to do is hold up 3 hands. There's one hand. There's another hand. Uh-oh, I've got a problem. I don't have enough hands. You guys think maybe I'll hold up a foot. Give me a sec. Let's see if I'm bendy enough for this. Oh, nope, it's not happening. I'm gonna have to count my toes right on the ground. So that's one way we can do it. So 3 times 5, 1, 2, and then one more hand, which is I'm gonna count my toes, and that gets me 5, 10, 15. That was a stomp sound. So I've got 15, which is 3 times 5, and I see that here. 3 times 5, 15. All right, and then I think I can also get away with that up here. Here's my 3 times 5 is 15. All right. And then one last one. Well, not one last one. Let's see. What's my other one there? 3 times 3 and 5 times 5. All right. So 3 times 3, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to keep holding up 3s. So here's 1, 3. Here's another 3. Oh, let's see if I can get that on. So 3 plus 3 plus 3. And then all that's left is 1 finger, so that I know that 3 times 3 is 9. That one is a more challenging one to do with your hands. But you could also count up by 3s. If you can count up by 3s, that's a good way. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. You just keep going up. But that's challenging to do in your head. We describe that as mental math instead of doing it this way, which is to write it down and then sort it out. But mental math is the best way. And these things that I'm describing, these tricks you use your hands with, are actually only useful if you... I'm just going to say hi. I see people chatting on the chat, so it's important to me to say hi to you guys. And to say thank you for doing math. I mean, this is a time when math might seem like a strange and unnecessary skill, but it's definitely something that leads us somewhere valuable. So my last question there is 5 times 5. And so that I would imagine as being 5 hands up in the air. So you need a friend for this. 1, 2, and now I'm going to use both my feet. 3, 4. Each one of those is a 5. And then one more person is going to come in with one more hand. And they're going to come in 6 feet away from me, giving me social distance, but they're still going to be counted. So when I add those up, I could count up by 5s. That's the best way to do it. So 5, 10, 15, 20, and then that last person is 25. And I get my answer, 25. So these, if any of my teacher friends tune in, they might be like yelling right now at the screen saying, there's better ways you could have done that 5 times table. And I'm sure there is. There's better ways to also explain what I'm trying to describe. But the important thing that I would remind them if they were to say that, if they were to comment on my YouTube channel and say, hey, you're not teaching math very effectively, I would say one of the things that we've learned in the last while is there are many ways to solve a math problem. There isn't just one. Some people do it on their hand. Some people do mental math. Some people do written math. And some people struggle and can't do it at all. And all of those things are valid. We have a good reason for a lot of those reasons of how we do math. And so because it's being done so many ways, me just introducing a new one is probably not a bad thing. Because maybe it'll work for you when something else didn't. Yeah, and that's math. I'm so happy you guys are doing math, trying that out at home, and or where you're at. And I definitely would tell you that the more you practice this, the less you'll need tricks. You don't need, if you memorize, let's just try, I'm going to try to reset up my, you guys should see this. It's, I have a lot of respect for you guys, and so I try my best to set up these podcasts, these live streams in a way that you guys can see and learn from. But today I could not reach, I only have a small whiteboard, so I actually had to stand the whiteboard on a little table. And I'm not going to go out and buy a brand new huge whiteboard to teach a lesson. So sometimes you got to solve the problems with what you've got. And for me, that was a little whiteboard for teaching this lesson. And so there's a very good chance it will fall down partway through my live stream, and maybe some people enjoy that. All right. I think that's everything that I want to say today, you guys. I know that some people are looking at things changing down the road, but for now we're just going to keep plugging away and making every day count. I'm here, and I'm still your teacher. And I appreciate that you guys are still my students. So I'm going to sign out like I always do. I encourage you to wash your hands for 20 seconds as often as you can. Don't wash, too much. You're going to chap your hands, but as often as you can, remember that that's important. And also, equally important is that you guys take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks a lot for tuning in.